Hello everyone, I welcome you to this week's edition of Focus on African Women's Health, a program that is dedicated to promoting the health of Africans at home and abroad. If you are joining us for the first time, we share the global message in this program, and that global message is health for all, and we emphasize that African women must not be left behind in optimal health. My name is Dr. Olayide Ogunshiji of the School of Nursing and Midwifery, Western Sydney, Australia. Last week, we presented the meaning of migration according to a number of West African migrant women in Australia, and we presented that to those women, migration means beginning again. We rounded that program up by presenting the implication in terms of their physical, emotional, and psychological health. Today, we'll be looking at two important policy documents. And in fact, a good look at these two important policy documents will take us a couple of weeks, but we're starting on that conversation today. The two very important policy documents we'll be looking at are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and the African Union, Africa We Want, also known as Agenda 2063. We will explore into greater depth Africa Union, Agenda 2063 today, and next week we will look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, also known as Agenda 2030. Agenda 2063, the Africa We Want, and that is the document that I'm showing you now. I've also provided a link to this policy document on top of this particular video. You can have a look at it, read it, and identify greater depth of information that is contained in it. Agenda 2063 came into being in 2013 during the commemoration of 50 years of Organization of African Unity. And it sets the pace for another 50 years of forward-looking in terms of the Africa that you and I want. There are a total of 7 aspirations in the agenda, and a very close look at all their aspirations reveal the important role that women can play and the central role that the agenda position women as key driver in what Africa will be in the year 2063. I leave you to read all the aspirations, but I will pay particular attention to aspiration 6 because it contains a lot of greater depth of information in terms of the health of women and African women in particular as key players in the Africa that you and I want. Aspiration 6 says that by 2063, African countries will be among the best performers in global quality of life. And apart from many other things, it says that this will be achieved through gender equality, youth empowerment, and the provision of basic services that include health, nutrition, education, shelter, water, and sanitation. It talks about Africa becoming a continent where no child, woman, or man will be left behind or excluded on the basis of gender, political affiliation, religion, ethnic affiliation, locality, age, or other factors. And very importantly, it talks about the fact that by 2063, all forms of gender-based violence and discrimination against women and girls will be eliminated, and that the latter will enjoy full human rights. It talks about the fact that all harmful social practices, including female genital mutilation and child marriage, will be ended, and that all barriers, the agenda says that all barriers to quality health and education for women and girls will be eliminated. You may want to then ask, what is the implication of all this on the health of African women? In the first instance, when we look at the current situation with the health of African women, there is ongoing evidence that African women continue to die in the course of childbirth. There is gender disparity, and many sociocultural norms hold African women behind in their ability to play their important role in development and in the Africa that you and I want. What this then suggests is Agenda 2063 provides the policy document that you and I can work together with in arriving at the destination of the Africa we want. Yes, a number of the issues and the difficulties and the problems that are out there are known to you and I. And in fact, we read about them, we see them, and we hear about them. However, what we are not hearing enough is the practical role and practical solution that you and I can put in place in ensuring that we make a difference in the lives of African women. We need to see more people that are practically and actively involved in providing solution to all these problems. And as we round up this week's edition of the program, the challenge that I'm throwing to all of us is, where do we think we can help? In my case, as I'm playing my part in bringing this particular program to you, I'm playing a part in raising awareness around all these issues that surround African women's health. And I strongly believe that I can do more. What about you? There's a call to action to all Africans and people of African descent to take personal responsibility for the destiny of the continent and as the primary agents of change and transformation. Next week, we shall look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, also known as Agenda 2030, into greater details. Meanwhile, my name is Dr. Olaide Ogunshiji of the School of Nursing and Midwifery, Western Sydney, Australia. I want to really thank you for your time today. Thank you for being there. Please let's get the conversation going. And until next week, when we meet again, it's bye for now. Thank you for joining.